The Liberals insist that the Act was needed in order to tow the trucks away, which is not the case, since all border blockades were resolved beforehand, and it was the province that leveraged the licenses of tow truck owners to get their cooperation. The allegations about Russian and foreign funding was false, and the accusations of arson were also false. So will the Prime Minister admit that invoking the Emergency Measures Act was just to punish those who don't agree with him?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank my colleague for the question. It allows me to highlight again that Commissioner Luckey herself testified before committee that indeed there was a problem procuring tow trucks in the midst of the illegal occupation, which is of course one of the reasons why we included that power in the Emergencies Act itself. We sought that advice prior to its invocation. We took the decision informed by our consultations, Mr. Speaker, and we did it because it was necessary, and we will never apologize for doing what is necessary to protect the health and safety of all Canadians. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Medicine Hat, Carson Warner.
Mr. Speaker, this Minister of Public Safety has repeatedly stated that the Emergencies Act was invoked at the recommendation of police. However, police officials have testified that they, in fact, did not ask for the invocation, and the Minister has not been able to identify any police agency that specifically asked for the Act invocation, as he states. Canadians don't trust don't know what to believe anymore and don't trust this misunderstood minister and this government. Will the minister do the right thing and just admit he made it up, or will he continue to double down and lose what little credibility he has left?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as my colleague well knows, and as I have said on a number of occasions, we invoked the Emergencies Act because it was necessary. We consulted with law enforcement. We sought their advice prior to its invocation, Mr. Speaker, and that advice obviously informed the decision to invoke. We did it because Canadians were hurting, because as they were trying to get to work, as they were trying to go about their daily lives, Conservatives were encouraging them to say that was wrong, and just once it would be nice to hear Conservatives stand up and apologize for their improper, reckless role in extending the illegal blockades. While they were undermining public safety, we were defending it.
The Honourable Member for Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke.
Mr. Speaker, the Public Safety Minister said 9 times he invoked the Freeze and Seize Emergencies Act at the request of the police. The RCMP denied this, the acting Ottawa Police Chief denied this, and even the former Ottawa Police Chief denied this. How can Canadians trust this minister or his government?
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians will trust a government that will do what is necessary to protect their health and safety, and contrast what we did, which was to invoke the Emergencies Act only after it was clear that existing authorities were ineffective at restoring public safety, to the role of the Conservatives, Mr. Speaker, who encouraged, who egged them on, who were taking selfies with them, who were doing whatever it took to make it a political problem for the Prime Minister. That was wrong. They should know better. Canadians will never forget the role that Conservatives played during the illegal blockades, but they will remember, Mr. Speaker, what we did, which was to protect them. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Brantford Brant.
The Prime Minister promised Canadians they would expect openness and transparency, but it appears this is not the case with our Public Safety Minister. Words matter. Clarity matters. Repeating extensively inside and outside of this House that law enforcement asked for the Act is categorically opposed to the narrative that they asked for the measures contained in the Act. How can Canadians trust this minister when he has repeatedly misled them?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Speaker, the honourable colleague sets a very high threshold for openness and transparency. When is he going to shine a light on the statements that were made by his interim leader during the illegal occupations, who wanted to make it a political problem while frontline officers were trying to restore public safety? That party...
With all the shouting, I wasn't able to hear half that answer. I'm going to have to ask this minister to start over again, please.
Mr. Speaker, as I was saying, my honourable colleague across the aisle sets a very high threshold for openness and transparency, and I wonder when he's going to shine a light on the conduct of his own caucus colleagues, including the interim Conservative Party of Canada leader, who was egging on the illegal occupation long after it had become dangerous. Not only did those statements put at jeopardy the lives and the health and safety of Ottawa residents, it also put in danger the lives and safety of our frontline police officers. It was wrong. They should apologize.
The honourable member for Thérèse de Blainville. Mr. Speaker, the passport fiasco continues. The only solution for those